Hey folks, nice to connect with you again. So today's topic is high quality questions. Anthony Robbins, he says a lot of great things, but one of the great things that he said that I've loved since I heard it was that the quality of our life is determined by the quality of the questions we ask ourselves. So therefore it kind of pays to ask better quality questions. Now, if you can ask high quality questions, I think the real value in high quality questions is it always unlocks something. It takes you to a bigger space. It unlocks stuff that you couldn't see before. It unlocks resources that you couldn't see before. It unlocks a path that previously was hidden. That's the value of it. You find yourself stuck and stumped and not sure what to do. You ask the right question. All of a sudden, the path opens up. All of a sudden, you access something bigger. That's the wonder of it. And that's why it improves the quality of your life. Because in order to be happy, we have to make progress. You can't make progress if you're asking low quality questions. Low quality questions stop you in your tracks. So, the real difference between a low quality question and a high quality question is the impact it has on your state. I think that's probably the best way to decide. You can't really tell. You might think you're asking a high quality question or the right question, but the proof is always in the pudding. How does this impact you? So low quality questions, when you ask them, they never give you anything more. In fact, they further embed you in being overwhelmed or stuck. So a classic low quality question is, why me? Why is this happening to me? Now that's a natural question. It's an easy question, makes sense. But how do you possibly answer that in a way that gives you any value? You're experiencing some kind of calamity or failure and you say, why me? Why is this happening? Well, I don't know. How are you going to answer that in a way that's going to add value? A high quality question, on the other hand, always takes you to a bigger place and it creates an energized state. So how to ask high quality questions is simply just to notice the impact the question is having on your state. A mistake people make is then they bring judgment into that. Judgment, if you've heard anything from me, you will have heard me say 1,000 times, you can't do awareness and judgment at the same time. So the moment you are critical of what you see, then it's not safe to be honest about what you see. So no judgment, just notice, just be curious. So some action steps that you can take to improve the quality of the questions you're asking yourself. Action 1 is just to stop and notice. Just notice the impact of your current questions. Just take a step back. Just review what's happening. You might not even know the questions you're already asking, but just stop and notice the language you're using, the questions you're asking, and the impact they are having on your state. Action step 2 is just to make a few adjustments. Change the language, swap a few words around, add some words, and just simply, again, notice, does it give you more energy or does it give you less? Does it take you to a bigger place or a smaller place? Does it open up something? Does it unlock something? Does it give you something more? Or does it shut you down? Simple, right? Notice and adjust. And the third thing, you might like to try some questions that I use. So here are 3 questions that I find particularly useful. Question 1 is, how can I use this to get more of what I want? That is a game-changing question, and I love to acknowledge the source. But I don't know where I got that question from. I didn't make it up, but it's just so beautiful because no matter what's going on, no matter what shows up, if I ask that question, it always instantly changes my state and takes me to a bigger place. Question 2 is always to ask who and why rather than how and when. So when I find myself with a challenge and I go, how am I going to solve this or when am I going to solve this? When, well, I probably really need to get onto that. So I feel time pressure when I ask the when question. And when I ask the how question, I feel overwhelmed and stuck because how takes me back in my mind to how I've solved it before. And if I've never solved it before, then I don't know what the answer is. So when I ask how questions, I come up with I don't know. So it takes me to a smaller place. But if I ask who has already solved this, who has done the work around creating frameworks around this, immediately I go, oh, well, there has to be a way. And why is this important for me to solve? That increases desire, motivation, and necessity is the mother of all invention. So they're beautiful questions. And the third question I love and find particularly valuable is what for? So I apply this to my state. If I notice myself in a state that's not getting what I want, I just ask what for? What's the intention of this state? What am I trying to achieve here? If I notice pain show up in my body, I got pain in my sciatic. My piriformis is tight again after the City to Surf yesterday off the back of Townsville Marathon. last week, which is interesting, right? Because as you know, well, if you have heard me talk about pain as a signal, sciatic pain always means something for me. So to stop and ask what for, with no judgment, always leads me to a beautiful conversation with myself. So look, I hope that's useful. Love to hear from you in the comments below, and I'll talk to you again soon.